Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Ashburn Arts Centre. And thank you so much for coming. As you can hear, Wednesday night is bell practice night until about 9 o'clock. So the first set will have an additional accompaniment, but maybe I'll, if everyone's happy, we can close that window for a bit. We've got enough ventilation over there, if that's okay with everybody. Yes, thanks for coming. It's hard getting audiences out at the moment. I'm finding, as are lots of other people I hear. So thank you, especially for that reason, to you all for coming. Really much appreciated. And yeah, do tell your friends. I'd love to know why it's so hard. Is it because people are kind of reacting to the fact that we had so much COVID in the last few weeks, which is true around here for the first time, although I saw the graph yesterday and it went up like that to, from almost nothing during the end of August, September, but it's now back to here. So it's heading in the right direction, fingers crossed. Anyway, we've got some great things coming up. If you're not on the mailing list already, I suspect you all are. But if you're not, see me later. And things like Nick Harper this Sunday, which unusually is the only thing that is selling lots of tickets. So someone's been doing a lot of work for him, and it's been planned for a long, long time. As has this. There are a few people who turned up here with tickets that I'd completely forgotten about, I confess, from last March. When Steve was originally going to come. Steve's gig last March was the very first one that was cancelled because of the whole thing. It was anticipating, it was before lockdown even, but it was already looking like a bad idea. So we took the, I think, good decision not to go ahead, but I'm delighted that finally we are going ahead. And so please put your hands together and welcome to the stage, Steve Turner.
Good evening. Good evening. It's a bit better, isn't it? Yeah. I had some interesting challenges in my long and arduous career. But here's another one. We'll wait till the window's closed. Sing a chorus song to drown them out. Folks, sing the chorus song. Yes, please. A song from, oh, that was given by my mate Nick Dow. No, some artists as well. And about in 1907, in Portsmouth Workhouse, there were frenzied fights for the folk songs that were around and collected by Hammond Gardner. You'll pick this up as it goes on. Of course, it sort of varies a little bit, but make it up as you go along. Come, my brave boy, now the wind's right aback. We will have on us until all and apart, while steady cries are captain, there blows a sweet day. We will soon see the English land, boys. We'll soon see the English land, boys. If the breezes don't fail, if the breezes don't fail, we will soon see the English land, boys. If the breezes don't fail. Come, my brave boys, never mind how she rolls, and as soon as the gale is over, we'll sling a fresh roll, and do as we please. No more cries our captain, there blows a sweet gale. We will soon take our whack, boys. We'll soon take our whack, boys. If the banks do not fail, if the banks do not fail, we will soon take our whack, boys. If the banks do not fail, if the banks do not fail, if the banks do not fail. I've made a list which is very unprofessional, but I'm so much out of the I've got an excuse. This is some of a very unusual subject. It's about ladies stealing clothes from department stores. Not many songs about that. And it was actually quite common when the department stores first started to appear in the 1840s and 1850s. Places like in America, Bloomingdale's and Macy's and places like that, and Debenhams in this country, they started a long, long time ago. And before that, if women wanted to have dresses made, they either went to a dressmaker or they made them themselves. But that was it. But when department stores came, it changed middle-class women's lives completely, because they could go into department stores, warm, well-lit places with huge choice of clothes that were laid out on tables for them. And they were sort of mesmerized by it. They could meet the friends there, you know, have a nice day. Sometimes they went 2 or 3 times a day, you know. It was that crazy. And they got to the stage where they were sort of mesmerized by this, you know, and they just ended up sort of picking them up and putting them in their bags and walking out, you know. And did you really? You can tell me about it later. Really? Crikey. Auntie Netta, incidentally, was my aunt long time ago. Yes. It's very interesting. Yeah, and when the security in these department stores in those days very lax, you know. So when the middle class ladies were actually brought to court and arrested, the judge gave them a good telling off. Absolutely. And this song is a protest song as well, because compared with working class men, when they stole a loaf of bread to feed the family, starving family, they'd end up in jail, or they'd end up being sent to Van Diemen's Land for 7 long years, as you do in folk songs. And this is a broadside, 1867 broadside that was put to music by a guy called Dave Moran, who was in the Halyard. It's called When Ladies Go a Thieving. Now don't we live in curious times? You scarcely would be believing when Frenchmen fight and emperors die, and ladies go a-thieving. A beauty to the West End went, round the shops she lingered, and all upon some handkerchiefs she laid her pretty fingers. Now thieving is a wicked trade, as I to you will state. Now when a poor man steal a penny loaf, they'll send him off to Newgate, and he'll get 6 months in Newgate jail for roguery he was dealing. And there's a lady old in a veil that rambles out thieving. The drake appeared beneath her shawl, said, "What do you mean by all this then?" And very soon she was in the hands of one of them new out and curse her, and said the judge should sentence her to 7 years hard labour. For thieving is a wicked trade, as I to you will state. Now when a poor man steal a penny loaf, they'll send him off to Newgate, and he'll get 6 months in Newgate jail for roguery he was dealing. And there's a lady all in a veil that rambles out a thieving. Now don't we live in curious times? You scarcely would be believing when Frenchmen fight and emperors die, and ladies go a thieving, and ladies go a thieving. I had a programme on the radio about Ivor Cutler, who was a great, if somewhat eccentric Scottish comedian and also songwriter, about whom I knew very little really. And this is a song he wrote, which they played on that programme, and it's called Going in a Field. It's got a great chorus, very easy chorus. Goes like this. I'm going in a field. I'm going in a field. I'm going in a field to lie down. I'm going in a field. I'm going in a field. I'm going in a field to lie down. Green grass growing beneath me. Green grass growing beneath me. I'm going in a field to lie down. I'm going in a field. I'm going in a field. I'm going in a field to lie down. Blue skies up above me. Blue skies, there's blue skies up above me. I'm going in a field to lie down. I'm going in a field. I'm going in a field. I'm going in a field to lie down. Yellow flowers growing all around me. Yellow flowers growing all around me. I'm going in a field to lie down. I'm going in a field. I'm going in a field. I'm going in a field to lie down. Green grass growing beneath me. Blue skies up above me. Yellow flowers from the American Civil War sort of period. It's the first one. It's called The Vacant Chair, and this song was sung by both sides in the American Civil War. It's a sentimental song, but I find it's a great tune. It is a great tune, and this was taken by the Bluegrass fraternity, and they decided they didn't want to sing this tune, so they put it to the Union Miners tune. Union Miners stand together, do not hear, etc. But this is the original tune. Why they didn't sing this, I don't know, but it's got a chorus as well. We shall meet, but we shall miss him. There will be a vacant chair. We shall linger to remember while we breathe the evening air. So, a bit sentimental. I like to sing songs with good words and good tunes, but I make an exception in this case. Great tune. Goes like this. We shall meet, but we shall miss him. There will be a vacant chair. We shall linger to remember while we breathe the evening air. Don't try. We shall meet, but we shall miss him. There will be a vacant chair. We shall linger to remember while we breathe the evening air. When a year ago we gathered, joy was in his mild blue eye, but a golden cord is severed, and our hopes in ruins lie. We shall meet, but we shall miss him. There will be a vacant chair. We shall linger to remember while we breathe the evening air. By our fireside, sad and lonely, often will the bosom swell in remembrance of the story how our lonesome hero fell, how he strove to bear the banner in the thickest of the fight, and uphold our country's honor with the strength of manhood's might. We shall meet, but we shall miss him. There will be a vacant chair. We shall linger to remember while we breathe the evening air. How they tell us wreaths of glory shall forever deck his brow, but it soothes the anguish only, sweeping all our heartstrings now. Sleep today, O early fallen, in thy green and narrow bed, while the leaves of pine and cypress mingle with the tears we shed. We shall meet, but we shall miss him. There will be a vacant chair. We shall linger to remember while we breathe the evening air. We shall meet, but we shall miss him. There will be a vacant chair. We shall linger to remember while we breathe the evening air. While we breathe the evening air. Vacant chair. This is a song written by, this is also from the American Civil War. It's written by a guy called Henry Clay Work, who was probably the second greatest American songwriter of the 19th century after Stephen Foster. And he wrote stuff like Marching Through Georgia, and I think we probably know him better for a song called My Grandfather's Clock. And Henry Clay Work was an anti-slave campaigner, and he actually originated in Scotland, and he came over with his father, who was also a campaigner for anti-slavery, and between them they freed 4,000 slaves and did a great job. And this is one of its lesser known songs. It's called Babylon Is Fallen, and it's got another chorus, not too easy this time, but you don't have to concentrate as much this time because our friends have stopped ringing the bells. Look out there now, we're going to shoot. Look out there, don't you understand? Babylon is fallen, Babylon is fallen, and we're going to occupy the land. Don't you see the lightning? Don't you see the black cloud rising over yonder, where the master's old plantation stands? Never you be frightened, those are only comrades come to join the fight to understand. Look out there now, we're gonna shoot. Look out there, don't you understand? Babylon is falling, Babylon is falling, and we're gonna occupy the land. Don't you see the lightning flashing on the canebrake, like as if we're gonna have a storm? No, you are mistaken, those are comrades' bayonets and the buttons on their uniforms. Look out there now, we're gonna shoot. Look out there, don't you understand? Babylon is falling, Babylon is falling, and we're gonna occupy the land. Way up in the cornfield, where you hear the thunder, that is our old 40-pounder gun. When the shells are missing, we will load with pumpkins, all the same to make the cowards run. Look out there now, we're gonna shoot. Look out there, don't you understand? Babylon is falling, Babylon is falling, and we're gonna occupy the land. Master was a colonel in the rebel army ever since he went and run away. Now his loving servants, they have all been watching, and they took him prisoner yesterday. Look out there now, we're gonna shoot. Look out there, don't you understand? Babylon is falling, Babylon is falling, and we're gonna occupy the land. We will be the master, he will be the servant. Try and see if he likes it for a while. So we crack the butler, so we take the colonel, and the cannon carry back the shell. Out there now, we're gonna shoot. Look out there, don't you understand? Babylon is falling, Babylon is falling, and we're gonna occupy the land. Out there now, we're gonna shoot. Look out there, don't you understand? Babylon is falling, Babylon is falling, and we're gonna occupy the land. And this is the third one of the little set. I'm just wondering whether to save it for later because it's a bit not really the one to go with the bells. But I'll play a little tune first and see what happens. couple of jigs. I'd like to try and sing this song. It's a great song. And, it doesn't go with the bells. So, it's written by a guy called Les Sullivan, who I learnt it when he lived in Bishop Stortford. And, I think he lives in Dorset now. And it's also from the American Civil War. And a guy called, also by the name of Sullivan Ballou, which is a Huguenot name. He was a captain in the Confederate Army, and he was killed at the Battle of Bull Run in 1861. And the thing is, he knew he was going to be killed, so he wrote a letter to his wife, and telling her, basically a very poignant letter, telling her how much he loved her and to take care of the children, and he was very sorry that he was going to be killed, basically. And this letter became very famous, and there's a copy of it in nearly every military America because it's such an emotional piece of work. And the song is called Sullivan's Farewell, and Les told me that basically 97% of this is the words from the letter that Sullivan Ballou wrote, and the other 3% is him sort of tying it together, making it into a song. It's got a chorus that goes, "Then in the wind I shall return, and Sarah, when you feel breeze on your cheek, it will be my breath." Dear Sarah, I'm writing now the battle's nigh. Things that I must say to you, if by chance I die, then in the wind I shall return, Sarah, when you feel breeze on your cheek, it will be my breath. Standing fast like goals before us, certain in our cause, only God knows what will happen in the midst of wars. Then in the wind I shall return, Sarah, when you feel the breeze on your cheek, it will be my breath. Memories of blissful moments creeping over me. All our hopes are burned to ashes, all we yearn to be. Then in the wind I shall return, Sarah, when you feel the breeze on your cheek, it will be my breath. Please forgive me for my failings, watch our sons grow true. Though my final breath escaping whispers just of you, then in the wind I shall return, Sarah, when you feel the breeze on your cheek, it will be my breath. Then in the wind I shall return, Sarah, when you feel the breeze on your cheek, it will be my breath. Oh yeah, I know what to do. This is you heard of the Spinners? Oh yes, of course you have. Huey Jones is still around, and they did. He and his wife Chrissy, they had a fantastic folk club in Liverpool called the Everyman, and I think it's shut at the moment, but hopefully it's going to reopen. And I used to go and see the Spinners in the Free Trade Hall in Manchester. As you did. Used to play to, I mean, they were probably the most famous folk group in the world in the 60s. They used to play 2 or 3 nights on the run in front of an audience of 2,000, you know, in the Free Trade Hall and everywhere else in the world. They went to America and stuff. I always think the Detroit Spinners call themselves that, so as not to get mixed up with the real Spinners, you know. And they were that famous. And Huey's still around. He must be very, very old, but he acts like he's about 80, you know, he acts like a 17-year-old. He's amazing. And this is my favourite song of the Spinners. And he gave me, last time I played the club, he gave me a copy of his new album. And this was on it. And I thought, wow, this is a song I always used to enjoy him singing in the 60s. By the Liverpool docks at the dawn of the day, I saw a flash packet, the Dreadnought by name. She's bound for the west where the stormy winds blow. She's the Liverpool packet, oh Lord, let her go. Derry down, 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 derry down, derry down, derry down, 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 derry down. And now she's lying in the river Mersey, waiting for the tugboat to tow her to sea. It's around the rock light where the wild waters fall. She's the Liverpool packet, oh Lord, let her go. Derry down, 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 derry down. And now she's howling down the wild Irish sea. Her passengers merry, their hearts full of glee. Their sailors like lines prowl the decks to and fro. She's the Liverpool packet, oh Lord, let her go. Derry down, 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 derry down. And now she's sailing the Atlantic so wide, where the dark rolling seas roll along her black sides. The spar-tail taut for the dead cross to show. She's the Liverpool packet, oh Lord, let her go. Derry down, 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 derry down. And now she's arriving in old New York town. It's straight to the Bowery, our sorrows to drown. With the girls and strong drink and the songs they do flow. She's the Liverpool packet, oh Lord, let her go. Derry down, 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 derry down. Here's a health to the Dreadnought and all her brave crew, to bold Captain Samuels and his officers too. Talk about your flash packet, swallowtail and black ball. The Dreadnought's the flyer that'll outsail them all. Derry down, 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 derry down, derry down, 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 derry. Huey Jones. I haven't got a watch with me, Andy. How are we doing? I'll just do one more. I got some CDs. I forgot to bring my CDs. What an idiot! So I happen to have 3 in my case. 2 of the current album, which is called what's it called? Late Cut, and one of the previous albums, which is Rim of the Wheel. There's some details if you're interested. Have a look at the my website. There's some you can get them from there if you would like to, and that's www.steve-turner.co.uk. .co.uk. Don't forget the hyphen, because there's millions of Steve Turners around, and forget that, and you won't get them. You'll probably get a bunch of flowers or something like that. So, they're £10 each. Yep. This is a great song. I've been working on this for 50 years and I still haven't got it right. It's called Fare You Well, My Dearest Dear, and it's sung from Sussex, from Horsham, and they collected it from a guy called Henry Burstow. And there is a blue plaque of Henry Burstow in Horsham, collected about 1900, something like that. This is if you thought that Sullivan's Farewell was sad, then this matches it. Folk songs are always sad. The best folk songs are always sad. Fare you well, my dearest dear. Fare you well and adieu, for I must go to sea for the sake of you. And my love, have a patient heart, since you must bear the smart, since you and I must part, my own true love. Silver and gold, houses and land, what more can you desire? My love, don't complain. With servants to your hand and jewels at your command, but you must think on me, love, when that I'm gone. Your gold I'll count as dust when that you are fled. Your absence proves me lost and strikes me dead. When you are far from home, then servants I'll have none. I'd rather live alone than in company. So nimbly then she is dressed, all in a man's attire, and for to go to sea was her heart's desire. She's cut her lovely hair, and no mistrust was there, for she a maiden word all at that time. To Venice we were bound, with our hearts intent, no thought of our ship being wrecked, and away we went from London but one day, and we got cast away. cast away. Misfortune then did frown, for I did swim to the shore, but she did drown. Now she lies in the deep in everlasting sleep, which causes me to weep forevermore. On that happy note, I'll see you later.
We shall have an interval for a while, and I have two important announcements. One is that there's a very fine ale called Pandit, which has been out of production for many months. Until now, we just had our first delivery on Friday, and the brewery were adamant that we mustn't drink it until 8:30 on Wednesday night, because that wasn't until it was going to be ready. So it's now just ready. And it is now behind the bar if anyone would like to sample a bottle of Pandit, the very fine Pandit, the fresh first pressing of extra virgin Pandit is now available behind the bar for £4 a bottle, which is excellent. I can vouch for it's just as good as it ever was. And the other thing is that in the corridor to the east corridor, which is now the East Gallery, because it's been painted and some hanging things have been put in, and it's full of art for the Devon Open Studios. A local artist, Miranda Day, has filled it with her paintings and postcards and prints and things, and do feel free to have a look. She's not here at the moment, but if you would like to buy anything, come and see me and I can sort you out in the interval. Thank you very much. Thanks to Steve. We'll see you in we'll see you about 15-20 minutes or so when the bells are heading for the end. Thank you very much.
Hey up, how are you doing? I'm doing all right. I'm seeing that today. Right. I'll do my poem. This is my poem. I don't do many poems, so this is it. It's ah.
Has anybody lost an HSBC bank dongle?
This is one by one of the Lancashire poets, the Lancashire School of Poets in the 19th century, and a guy called Sam Fitton. It's called Tholick's Ark. It's actually not by Sam Fitton, it's by somebody else, I'll tell you later. One evening at dusk, Noah stood on his ark, putting green oil in its starboard side lamp, when his wife come along and said, "Something's wrong. Our cabin is getting quite damp." Noah said, "Is that so?" And he went down below, and he found it were true what she said, for there on the floor, quite a puddle he saw. It was slopping around under the bed. There must be a leak in the bottom somewhere. We best find it afore we retire. And he thought for a while, and he said, "Aye, that's it. A bloodhound is what we require." So he went and fetched bloodhound for a place where it lay, twixt a skunk and a polecat it were, and as things down below were a trifle so-so. It were glad of the bit of fresh air. They followed the hound as it went sniffing around, till at last it located the leak, a small hole inside about 3 inches wide, where a swordfish had shoved in his beak. By gum, how the water came in through that hole, till young Shem, who at sums were expert, worked it out on his slate that it came in at the rate of per gallon, per second, per squirt. The hound tried his best to keep water in check by lapping it up with his tongue, but it came in so fast through that hole that at last he shoved in his nose for a bung. The poor faithful hound were very near drowned, and it dragged him away none too soon, but stream, as it rose, pushed his way up his nose, and blew him up like a balloon. Mrs. Noah put her elbow in its hole and said, "Hey, it stopped, I believe." But she found very soon that she altered her tune, for water had got up her sleeve. When she found that her elbow were doing no good, she said, "Noah, I've an idea. You sit off the leak, and by the end of next week, who knows, but weather might clear." Noah didn't think much to this notion at all, but he thought he'd give it a try. On the hole, down he flopped, and leaking soon stopped, and all except him were quite dry. They brought him his breakfast, his dinner and tea, as day after day there he sat, till the rains were all past, and they landed at last on topside of Mount Ararat. And that's how Noah got 'em all safe on shore. But ever since then, strange to tell, them as helped in the ark have all carried a mark, and all their relations as well. And that's why dogs have cold noses, and ladies cold elbows. But you'll also find, if you inquire, that that's why a man takes his coattails in hand and stands with his back to the fire. It's true. Actually, that poem was written by Mariette Edgar, who also wrote things like The Lion and Albert. Yes, indeedy. Oh, yeah, well, that's it's a 20, actually. Right. Sold 2 albums, you see. I'll put that there for a time. This is another bit of a sentimental journey back to Manchester. I heard that song, that poem at Bury Folk Club. And this is a short sentimental. I'll try and make it a short sentimental journey, but when I first started on the folk scene in Manchester, which is where I come from, the Queen of the Blues in Manchester was a girl called Mary Asquith, and I used to sort of, she was far too important for me. I was frightened to death of her, really was. I'd like to have introduced myself. She sort of looked down at me when she passed by, so I didn't get near her. And she was a great singer. And the first song I ever heard her sing at the MSG, the Manchester Sports Guild, a very famous folk club in those days, was this. And I always thought she did the sort of definitive version, which is why I've not tried to sing it for the last 50 years, but I have wanted to, but never dared to, but now I don't care anymore. But, it's called Cain on the Brazos, and it's a protest song. It's a prison song. The prisoners on the River Brazos in Texas, and prisoners were sort of made to work, sort of almost made into slaves, and this was a protest against it. And the two tunes for this song, one tune, it's a very well-known song. If you look up on the internet, you'll find it. So many people have done it, and the two tunes, the band, Bob Dylan's band, and several people used what I consider is not a great tune at all, but Lonnie Donegan, the great Lonnie Donegan, he used to sing it to this tune. I don't know whether he might even have written this tune. And Mary used to sing this Lonnie Donegan's tune. Ain't no more Cain on the Brazos. They ground it all up for molasses. You'd have been on the Brazos in 1904. You'll have seen many dead men on every road. You'd have been on the Brazos in 1910. They drive the women just like they drive the men. Go down, oh Hannah, don't you rise no more. Don't you rise again till Judgment Day is short. Ain't no more Cain on the Brazos. They ground it all up for molasses. Captain, don't you do me like a done old shine. You drove that poor boy till he gone stone blind. Come on, wake up you people and lift up your hand. You may find your freedom, but you still end up dead. Ain't no more cane on the brazos. Oh, they ground it all up for molasses. Cane on the Brazos. Where's my list? I had a list. Anyway. Concertinas are funny things, you know. I wish somebody would invent a capo for them. I'd be first in the queue. Because if you want to learn a song in a different key, instead of just putting the capo on, raise it up a fret, you know, you can do that. You can't do that with a concertina. You've got to relearn it in a different key. And I've sort of known this song for many years, and I like to sing it, and occasionally. It's called Loving Hannah, and the best key for it is C on the concertina, but it doesn't sound very good in the key of C. So I thought, well, I really want to sing it in E flat. So I can't sing in E flat because it's too high for me. So I had to rewrite the tune. I rode to church on Sunday. My love, she passed me by. I knew her mind was changing by the roving of her eye. By the roving of her eye. By the roving of her eye. I knew her mind was changing by the roving of her eye. My love, she's fair and handsome, and her waist is neat and small. She's quite good looking, and that's the best of all. And that's the best of all. And that's the best of all. She's quite good looking, and that's the best of all. Hannah, loving Hannah, won't you give to me your hand? You said that if you'd marry, that I would be the one. That I would be the one. That I would be the one. You said that if you'd marry, that I would be the one. I'll go down to the river when everyone's asleep, and I'll think on loving Hannah, and then sit down and weep, and then sit down and weep, and then sit down and weep. on Sunday, my love, she passed me by. I knew her mind was changing by the roving of her eye, by the roving of her eye, by the roving of her eye. I knew her mind was changing by the roving of her eye. Loving Hannah. I was talking about Nick Dow before. Nick's a great singer and mate of mine, and I was talking to a gentleman in the audience asking about him as well. Nick comes from the, well, his wife comes from the travelling community, and he's been collecting a lot of songs during the lockdown, and he's put out this book of songs from the south of England called the Southern Songster, songs from the Hammond and Gardner collection, which he kind of gave me, and also sent me another book called The Southern Harvest, which is a compilation of several books of Foggy Dew and Constant Lovers. There's 4 books in that series, and these are different versions of songs from those books. And this is a version of a child ballad called The Golden Vanity. This version of this is called The Golden Vanity, but there's 120 versions of this song in the child ballads. I don't know if you know about Professor Francis James Child, whose lifetime's work it was to collect 300 old folk songs and variations thereof, like 200 versions of Barbara Allen are in there, you know, like, and in very small writing with millions of appendixes and notes, sleeve notes and whatever, you know, and which you'd never get around to reading. And there's only 120 versions of this song. But the thing about Francis James Child is a marvellous, marvellous collection of the most wonderful songs. The big mistake he made was he didn't put any tunes to them. So along came in the 40s and 50s the venerable, esteemed, what was he called? Bertrand Bronson, who was a scholar from America, and he sent 4 massive tomes full of the tunes to these child ballads, and this is a version from Hampshire, of course, because it comes from the Southern Songster. And this is a song we all learnt at school, or I don't think I did, but most people did. So you'll know this song. Different tune, because it's the Hampshire tune. Now Jackie had a ship in the North Country, and the name of the ship was the Golden Vanity. And I fear that she'll be taken by the Turkish enemy as she sailed in the lowlands, lowlands, low, as she sailed in the lowland sea. Now up spoke the saucy little cabin boy, saying, "What will you give me if the enemy I destroy? If I sink her in the sea, so she will not we annoy. If I sink her in the lowlands, lowlands, low, if I sink her in the lowland sea." Join in the chorus. And up spoke the captain, and thus to him he swore, saying, "I will give you gold, and I will give you store, and I'll give to you my daughter dear when we return on shore. If you sink her in the lowlands, lowlands, low, if you sink her in the lowland sea." And this boy bared his breast, and quickly he jumped in. This boy bared his breast, and away then he did swim, and he swam until he came to the Turkish enemy, and she sailed in the lowlands, lowland, low, as she sailed in the lowland sea. This boy, he had an order, and he bored once or twice, and some were playing cards, and some were playing dice, and the water that came in, and it dazzled all their eyes, and he sank her in the lowland, lowlands the low, and he sank her in the lowland sea. This boy, he bared his breast, and he swam back on the tide, and he swam till he came to the starboard side, saying, "Captain, take me in, for I'm sinking in the tide. I am sinking in the lowland, lowland, low, and I'm sinking in the lowland sea." So they quickly took him in, but on the deck he died, and they wrapped up his body in an old cow's hide, and they threw him overboard for to sink all in the tide. They sank him in the lowland, lowlands low, and they sank him in the lowland sea. They sank him in the lowlands, lowlands low, they sank him in the lowland sea. Golden Vanity. This year, I'm sure you'll be thrilled to hear, is the 200th anniversary of the death of Napoleon Bonaparte. Yes, indeed. Yes. Some of the great British traditional songs were written about Bonaparte, because mainly by the working classes of England, Scotland, Ireland, because they all thought it'd be great if he if he won the battles against the British, because they might have a better life. And the only way that they could celebrate him was in song, because they couldn't afford to subsidise him in money, because they were all starving to death, you know. So this is a Scottish song by a guy called James Watt. It's called "The Isle of St. Helena." one of the great songs, the great Napoleonic ballads. And there was a program on Radio 4 about the building of St. Helena Airport a few years ago, and because they never had an airport, because there was nowhere to build it, basically. So they decided that they would build it just on the sea, and a few months later they had to close it down because the winds kept blowing couldn't let the planes land. So I think they solved that problem now. So the program was about that, really. And I had a phone call from my mate Paul Metzers saying, you better listen to this program on Radio 4 because they're using your song. It's not my song, but I did a version of it. They're using your version of the song for the introduction to the program. So I thought, oh, that's great. So I listened to it and I thought, well, it'd be nice to have a copy of this, a copy of the program. So I called the BBC, got in touch with the BBC, and they said, yes, certainly you can have one, sir. It's 80 quid, please. So that. And so I haven't got a copy of the but this is the Isle of St. Helena. Bonnie's away from his warring and fighting. He is gone to a place where nobody can delight him. He may sit now and tell on the sights that he's seen, while forlorn he does mourn. on the Isle of St. Helena. No more in St. Cloud will he appear in great splendor, nor come forth from the crowd like our great Alexander. He may look to the east while he thinks on Lucannon with his heart full of woe on the Isle of St. Helena. Wide rushing waves on our shores that are washing, and the wide billows heave over our rocks that are lashing. He may look o'er the main while he thinks on Diana, with his eyes on the waves that surround St. Helena. Louisa, she mourns from her husband as parted, and she dreams as she sleeps, and she awakes broken-hearted. There's none to console her, though there's plenty would be with her. Now alone she does mourn when she thinks on St. Helena. All you that have great wealth, beware of ambition, for there's some twist of fate could soon change your condition. Be steadfast in time, what's to come change you cannot, and maybe your race will end on the Isle of St. Helena. I'll play a little tune. First one's called The Exile of Erin. And the Exile of Erin was a pub in Manchester. It's been pulled down many years ago, but a guy called Tony Sullivan who wrote this tune, a great banjo player, Tony. He used to have an Irish session. He used to run an Irish session in there when I first started to play Irish tunes, and this pub was Giant Haystacks. He used to come in with his wife, and Giant Haystacks was, you obviously know Giant Haystacks was a wrestler. I used to go and see him at Bellevue against Big Daddy. I'm sure you went as well, David, yeah? Good lad. This is my cousin David, who I hadn't seen for 60 years. I've not got many, I've only got 2 cousins. I haven't got any family at all. David phoned me up. I was driving along one day and he phoned me up and said, your grandfather didn't used to play the concertina. I said, who is this, please? Who is this? I'm your cousin David, you've not seen me for 60 years. Yeah, well, he tracked me down. Really glad he did, actually, because it was great fun. Anyway, but his head used to touch the ceiling. He weighed 40 stone, 42 stone, I think he weighed, and about 7 foot tall. And his head used to touch the ceiling. He used to come in with his wife, who was about 5'2". It was so surreal to see them together. It really, really was. And this is from the days of. See if I can do it. Okay, thank you very much. Do a few songs to close the evening. Just sort of a medley of songs to close the evening. Another song from Lancashire. This one's written by Sam Fitton, who was one of the Lancashire poets. And, he's a working class guy who, instead of coming home from the 12-hour shift down the pit or in the cotton mills, coming home and watching Coronation Street, they came home and wrote poetry. And the most famous of the Lancashire poets was a guy called Edwin Waugh. And he was so good that he was discovered by Charles Dickens and had his work published by him. He's in the sort of 1850s. But Sam Fitton was one of the later poets, and he wrote this poem called "When I Were a Bit of a Lass." And it got, for some reason, I used to play in a band for a few years in my early days, and the fiddle player in the band was a guy called Bob Deal. He was a great fiddle player, not a singer, just a fiddle player, and he played a lot of bluegrass. He liked bluegrass, and I mean, he wasn't known for writing tunes at all, but he for some reason he came up to me one day. He said, I found this poem and I've written a tune to it, and you can have it if you want. And he didn't have much time for me and at all, so he played this tune through once, and it stuck with me for some reason. And it is very much a lady's song, and I actually showed this song to a few young lady folk singers, and they all turned their noses up at it. So I thought, well, sod it, I'm going to sing it myself. And this is it. It's called "When I Were a Bit of a Lass." You talk of your modern behaviour and such, your up-to-date manners and ways. You're thinking you've come to a wonderful pitch, you're cram full of pride nowadays. But I wished you'd have lived in me grandmother's time, when cheeks were not plated with brass. They didn't wear frocks that'd give chaps a shock, when I were a bit of a lass. You can join in that bit. Then lasses were lasses, and if they were poor, they dressed up in sensible rags. They didn't go swaggering with pads in their ear, nor swinging their vanity bags. They had no clock stockings to sport on to prom. They didn't think swanking were class. They'd no so much neck sticking out at the neck, when I were a bit of a lass. Your modern conventions are shoddy and sham. You're rather too fine for your talk. You'll jostle and cram in a train or a tram, because you're too lazy to walk. And when mix a lasses and getting 13, they're thinking they're women bit mass. They didn't talk back when their feathers looked black, when I were a bit of a lass. But you'll have to excuse me critical views. I'm apt to keep wagging me tongue. I'm apt to praise them old-fashioned days, when we were quite happy and young. But when you get out, somebody else will be towed, as modern behaviour's no class. With pride you'll impart, as your manners were smart, when you were a bit of a lass. I'll sing a song that was written by a friend of mine in Australia. And it's called "Jogging with the Bronte Sisters." Yes. And the story that he told me was that he was sitting on top of the bus going to work, or going home from work one day, and these three young girls dressed in the sort of athletics outfits that they were going jogging, you know, and came onto the bus, and he sat there and he thought, well, they remind me of the Bronte sisters. So he wrote this song. It's got a little chorus that you'll join in. I find it very difficult to remember the first verse of this. Undoubtedly these days in which we live are full of turbulence and strife. and we sample many ways of coping with the stress of modern life. Some people try encounter groups while others study Zen, but there's a special therapy I practice now and then. And I go jogging with the Bronte sisters, jogging out of doors. We meet behind the rectory and lope across the moors. When the Reverend Bronte's gone to sleep and Bramwell's gone to town, we quickly put our plimsolls on and then we're outward bound. Emily says there's nothing else in life that quite so positively sickens as the latest female character portrayed in serial form by Mr. Dickens. The lady's role in literature must be more sympathetic, and every female character should be much more athletic. And go jogging with the Bronte sisters, jogging out of doors. We meet behind the rectory and lope across the moors. When the Reverend Bronte's gone to sleep and Bramwell's gone to town, we quickly put our plimsolls on and then we're outward bound. We spend many happy hours in sauntering past misty rural scenes, interspersed with reading verse and rubbing down our calves with penetrine. We never beat about the bush when Charlotte sets the pace. Kate and Heathcliff in full stride just aren't in the race. When we go jogging with the Bronte sisters, jogging out of doors, we meet across the rectory and lope across the moors. When the Reverend Bronte's gone to sleep and Bramwell's gone to town, we quickly put our plimsolls on and then we're outward bound. Jogging with the Bronte sisters, jogging out of doors, we meet behind the rectory and lope across the moors. When the Reverend Bronte's gone to sleep and Bramwell's gone to town, we quickly put our plimsolls on and then we're outward bound. I mean, what sort of imagination must you have to write something like that? I admire him so much. How are we doing for time? Carrying on, right. Sing a song, singing the Whalers hymn, the Whalemen's hymn. And, the whalemen in the 19th century, 18th to the 19th centuries, they used to go around the world on their about 4 or 5 years at a time on these trips to catch the few remaining whales that they hadn't already killed to fuel the little oil lamps, because there are not many other sources of oil in those days, and so it took them an awful long time. And when they'd been to the Arctic and the Antarctic, they used to call in at the tropical islands and to basically put the oil in barrels and have a little rest and relaxation and stock up with food. And on these few weeks that they spent on the tropical islands, they met the missionaries, and the missionaries used to sing hymns, and the whalemen who were not particularly sort of religious at all, but they liked a good tune, and this is the whalemen's version of this song, which you will know well. And this is a version of When the Roll is Called Up Yonder from Martha's Vineyard. When the trumpet of the Lord shall sound and time shall be no more, and the morning breaks eternal, bright and fair, and the saved on each shall gather over on the other shore, and the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there. Don't have a little go. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there. On that bright and cloudless morning when the dead in Christ shall rise, the morning bright, eternal, bright and fair, and the saved on each shall gather over on the other shore, and the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there. Let us labour for the Master from the dawn till set of sun. Let us talk about his wondrous love and care, and when all of life is over and our work on earth is done, the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there this time. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there. Hallelujah, brothers and sisters. Thought we'd have a bit of Everly Brothers to get going with, to get on the way with.
Sing both parts.
Wait and see. He died recently, didn't he? Was it Phil who died? No. Yeah, Phil died, didn't he? Yeah. So, You know, I always think of the Everly Brothers in the green room, waiting to go on stage in the Carnegie Hall, you know, with their concertinas in their hands. Yes. Yeah, they won't be going on stage at the Carnegie Hall with concertinas in their hands, believe me. And yeah, this is one of their masterpieces. If you know the other part, sing it. I bless the day I found you. I want to stay around you, and so I beg you, let it be me. Don't take this heaven from one if you must cling to someone. Now and forever, let it be me. Each time we meet, love, I find complete love. Without your sweet love, what would life be? So never leave me lonely. Tell me you love me only, and that you'll always let it be me. Each time we meet, love, I find complete love, without your sweet love, what would life be? So never leave me lonely, tell me you love me only, and that you'll always let it be me, and that you'll always let it be me. Okay, thank you very much. You've been extraordinarily kind, and that's my list. Yeah, terrible, terrible. I don't care. I don't. I'm so unprofessional. You wouldn't believe it. Yes, right. Well, we will do this. This is another song from Manchester, and this is. Thank you very much for listening. You've been extraordinarily kind. Only 2 people walked out. Isn't that great? Normally, you know, concertinas have this effect on people. Either you hate them or you sort of like them. Or there's a thing called the Munchen curve, which is this the sound of concertinas. You know, it has an effect on, apparently it has an effect on women's eardrums, which make them, sometimes they can't stand that. It's the same sort of thing as the electric guitar, that when it goes that sort of sound that the electric guitar tape makes, and it's that sort of effect that it has on women's ears more than men's, apparently. And the concertina is that, and it also the same effect on cats. So yeah. Sorry. Yes, yes. Apparently, it's a scientific fact, so I'm told. Yeah. So there's actually a man and a woman walked out, so it must have the same effect on both of them. But if it was the concertina that had the effect, I don't know. But, there is one. That's for David. That one. That's for David. Yes. Cousin David. I've never called anybody cousin before, so it's new to me. Anyway, this is written by a guy called Tommy Yates from Manchester, and it's his famous song, and it's called Bide a While. And good finishing off song. This. Thanks again for listening. Join in the chorus of this. Bide a while in friendly company, which it has been. The day's falling as rounded out, and ends the working light, and I must have all round about the friendship of this night, and bide a while, sit you down by me, bide a while in friendly company. Bide with us an hour to pass before you think to part, and pull aside a chair and spend the night before you part, and bide a while, sit you down by me, bide a while in friendly company. Use up the time you had to spend with comrades you well know, and pull aside a chair and spend the time before you go, and bide sit you down by me. Bide a while in friendly company. Come one, come all, the parting toast is met with fond refrain. No matter who may play the host, we'll bide a while again, and bide a while, sit you down by me. Bide a while in friendly company, and bide a while, sit you down by me. Bide a while in friendly company. Bide a while, sit you down by me. Bide a while in friendly company. Thank you very much for listening. Cheers. Thank you. I'll take my life in my hands and do a world premiere of this song. This is a song not collected, but it's a song collected by George Petrie, who was a 19th century Irish scholar, and this is a traditional Irish song, which is it was written in Gaelic, and it's if you see people playing the Uilleann pipes and great Irish pipe players, this is a song, a tune. They play the tune as a slow air. It's called the Snowy Breasted Pearl. Because it's such a beautiful tune. There's a calling fair as May, for a year and for a day. I have tried in every way a heart to gain. There's no art and tongue or eye, fond youth with maidens try, but I've tried mid secret sighs, but yet in vain. If to France or far off Spain she'd cross the watery main, to see again the seas I'd brave. But if heaven's decree that mine she may not be, may the Son of Mary me with a mercy save. Oh, thou blooming milk-white dove, to whom I have given true love, may I never thus reprove my constancy, that our maidens would be mine in wealth, in land or kind, if my heart would but incline to turn from thee. But a kiss in welcome land, or a touch of thy fair hand, is all that I demand, wouldst not spurn. But if not thine, dear girl, all my snowy breasted pearl, may I never from the fair with life return. But a kiss in welcome land, or a touch of thy fair hand, is all that I demand, wouldst not spurn. But if not thine, dear girl, all my snowy breasted pearl, may I never from the fair with life return. Snowy breasted pearl. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks. Thanks for coming.
I'm really delighted that Steve sang and played completely acoustically tonight. We didn't have to put anything through the PA system. If
Such fantastic acoustics in here.
It's so great to use it like that. If anyone's wondering, these microphones here are because I was sending it to Zoom and YouTube. And if you'd like to listen to the second half of it, the sound is good. The first half is awful because there was some kind of distortion somewhere. I couldn't find out where it was. Anyway, I changed some things in the interval, and the second half, I think, the sound was nice and clear. So if you want to have a listen to it again, send me an email and I'll send you the links. Steve Turner, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thanks. Cheers. Thanks. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Cheers. Oh, thank you. Yes, Bideford. Yeah, tomorrow. Right. I'll try. Yes. He lives there. Cheers, thanks mate.